It's Friday, which means we made it through our first full week of lessons. I am back, and as always, excited to be teaching today. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I was playing piano, and then I had to log into things here on my Chromebook, and before I knew it, it was 1:02. Oops, no big deal. Oh, 2 minutes isn't that big of a deal. But especially because these stay on my feed forever. So today's lesson, you will just need paper and pencil again, and I'm ready to get started. I hope you are too. So today's lesson, first of all, I want to show you this. This is my amazing summertime sun because it feels like summertime outside here. It's supposed to be the low to maybe even mid 80s here tomorrow. It really will feel like summer. So that's crazy. Oh, I need to switch this. It says that it's only to my friends, so I'm going to change it to public. Boom, done. Okay, so I have my sun. And I would say that this son loves to have fun. He enjoys, obviously, being outside and is one pretty cool dude. So those would be his character traits, which is what we're going to focus on today. And I'm going to teach you the more important character traits. There are two kinds. The first that I'm going to put up here, occasionally the first kind can really impact a text, such as I immediately think of Harry Potter. I think of also the book Wonder, if you have read that, and that would be outer traits. I call them outer character traits. That would be something on the outside of a person's body that really, or outside of a character's body, that you could describe them physically with, that you could use to describe him or her. In Harry Potter, it would probably be the scar on his forehead. It also would be an overall theme presented in the books over and over. He has his mother's eyes. He looks like his father, but he has his mother's eyes. In the book Wonder, it would be, or if you have seen the movie Wonder, it would be the physical disabilities that Augie, the main character, has. So occasionally those outer traits are impactful in a text, but most of the time it is these traits that really make a difference. And these traits are the ones that we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on the inner character traits because those are ones that truly describe a person and truly describe how a character is and acts. Those are the ones that in your writing, people that, let's say, are grading tests, not just your teacher, but maybe if you are taking a standardized test, those are the ones that people want to see that you can find and then support. There may be an argument, just like a theme. Last week I talked about theme. There could be an argument for many different character traits of a character, but as long as you can support it and back it up with evidence from the text, then you're good to go. So this leads me to the text that I am going to teach. I have an itchy nose. It is the end of my nose right here. I am going to now share with you the text that I am going to read today. I have already shared with you this week portions of one of my favorites, and that was the Jack Prelutsky text, If Not for the Cat, the book of haiku. This is also one of my favorites. In fact, this is probably my favorite picture book author. I think she is brilliant, and I love that some of her texts are fantasy fiction, But some of her texts, others of her texts, and this is one of the cases, are nonfiction stories about her life growing up in either the state of Michigan or after she moved to the state of California. And that is the author, Patricia Polacco. Patricia Polacco has quite an interesting backstory if you're not familiar with her. She was a person that really struggled to learn. She had learning disabilities when she was young. In fact, it wasn't really until she was about in the 6th grade that she truly learned how to read. And she wrote a book based on that called Thank You, Mr. Thank You, Mr. Faulkner, I believe is what it is. And if you have never heard that text, I really, really suggest that you read it, especially if you are a teacher or know or are close to teachers in your family. So not only is Patricia Polacco an amazing writer, author herself, but she also is the illustrator of all of her texts. So she is truly a gifted person, even though she was unable to really read as well as she needed to until she was middle school age. So that is mind-blowing to me that she was able to overcome all of that. So this is one of my favorites, and I think it goes well because it is spring. And in this area, there's a possibility of some thunderstorms coming over the weekend. So this is called Thunder Cake by Patricia Polacco, and it is a true story about Patricia and her grandmother in Michigan one summer evening. On sultry summer days at my grandma's farm in Michigan, the air gets damp and heavy. Storm clouds drift low over the fields. Birds fly close to the ground. The clouds glow for an instant with a sharp crackling light, and then a roaring, low, tumbling sound of thunder makes the windows shudder in their panes. The sound used to scare me when I was little. I loved to go to Grandma's house. Babushka, as I used to call my grandma, had come from Russia years before. But I feared Michigan's summer storms. I feared the sound of thunder more than anything. I always hid under the bed when the storm moved over my farmhouse. This is the story of how my grandma, my Babushka, helped me overcome my fear of thunderstorms. So maybe this is something that you can relate to and think about if you get scared of a thunderstorm later this weekend. Grandma looked at the horizon, drew a deep breath, and said, "This is thunder cake bacon weather, all right. Looks like a storm coming to me." "Child, you come out from under that bed. It's only thunder you're hearing," my grandma said. There she is. See her little bottom sticking out from underneath there? The air was hot, heavy, and damp. A loud clap of thunder shook the house, rattled the windows, and made me grab her close. "Steady, child," she cooed. "Unless you let go of me, we won't be able to make a thunder cake today." "Thunder cake?" I stammered as I hugged her even closer. "Don't pay attention to that old thunder except to see how close the storm is getting. When you see the lightning, start counting real slow. When you hear the thunder, stop counting. That number is how many miles away the storm is. Understand?" she asked. "We need to know how far away the storm is so we have time to make the cake and get it into the oven before the storm comes, or it won't be a real thunder cake." Babushka's from Russia, the old country. Trying to do a Russian accent. Not sure how good it is. It's probably not very good, so I apologize. Her eyes surveyed the black clouds away off in the distance. Then she strode into the kitchen. Her worn hands pulled a thick book from the shelf above the wood stove. "Let's find that recipe, child," she crowed as she lovingly fingered the grease-stained pages to a creased spot. "Ah, here it is, thunder cake." She carefully pinned the ingredients on a piece of notepaper. "Now let's gather all the things we'll need," she exclaimed as she scurried toward the back door. We were by the barn door when a huge bolt of lightning flashed. I started counting like Grandma told me to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then the thunder roared. 10 miles, it's 10 miles away, Grandma said as she looked at the sky. About an hour away, I'd say. You'll have to hurry, child. Gather them eggs careful like, she said. Eggs for mean old Nellie Peck Hen. I was scared. I knew she would try to peck me. I'm here. She won't hurt you. Just get them eggs, Grandma said softly. The lightning flashed again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I counted. 9 miles, Grandma reminded me. Milk was next. Milk from old Kit Cow. As Grandma milked her, Kit Cow turned and looked mean right at me. I was scared. She looked so big. Zip went the lightning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I counted. Baroom with the thunder. 8 miles, child, Grandma croaked. Now we have to get the chocolate and the flour and the sugar from the dry shed. Character trait right here from this graphic source. Patricia's scared, isn't she? I was scared as we walked down the path from the farmhouse through tangleweed woods to the dry shed. Suddenly, the lightning slit the sky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I counted. Boom, 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 crashed the thunder. It scared me a lot, but I kept walking with Grandma. Another jagged edge of lightning flashed as I crept into the dry shed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I counted. Crackle, crackle, boom, kaboom, the thunder bellowed. It was dark, and I was scared. I'm here, child, Grandma said softly from the doorway. Hurry now, we haven't got much time. We got everything but the secret ingredient. Wonder what that secret ingredient is. Make it a chocolate cake. 3 overripe tomatoes and some strawberries, Grandma whispered as she squinted at the list. I climbed up high on the trellis. The ground looked a long way down, and I was scared. I'm here, child, she said. Her voice was steady and soft. You won't fall. I reached 3 luscious tomatoes while she picked strawberries. Lightning again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I counted. Kabang, boom, baroom, the thunder growled. We hurried back to the house and the warm kitchen, and we measured the ingredients. I poured them into the mixing bowl while Grandma mixed. I churned butter for the frosting and melted chocolate. Finally, we poured the batter into the cake pans and put them into the oven together. Lightning lit the kitchen. I only counted to 3, and the thunder rumbled and crashed. 3 miles, said Grandma, and the cake is in the oven. We made it. We'll have a real thunder cake. I also love Patricia Polacco's illustrations because I'm pretty sure she loves kitties like I do. She always puts kitties in them. That's another one of my favorite books by her. It's all about a kitty, and it's called For the Love of Autumn. Oh, brilliant. Perfection. As we waited for the cake, Grandma looked out the window for a long time. Why aren't you afraid of thunder? You're too brave. Or why you aren't afraid of thunder? You're too brave, she said as she looked right at me. I'm not brave, Grandma, I said. I was under the bed, remember? But you got out from under it, Grandma answered. And you got eggs from mean old Nellie Peck Hen, and you got milk from old Kit Cow, and you went through the tangleweed woods to the dry shed, and you climbed the trellis in the backyard. From where I sit, only a very brave person could have done all them things. I thought and thought as the storm rumbled closer. She was right. I was brave. Brave people can't be afraid of a sound, child, she said as we spread out the tablecloth and set the table. When we were done, she hurried into the kitchen to take the cake out of the oven. After the cake had cooled, we frosted it. See, there's the kitty saying, you are brave. Just then the lightning flashed, and this time it lit the whole sky. Even before the last flash had faded, the thunder rolled, boomed, crashed, and baroomed just above us. The storm was here. Perfect, cooed Grandma. Just perfect. She beamed as she added the last strawberry to the glistening chocolate frosting on top of our thunder cake. As rain poured down on our roof, Grandma cut a wedge for each of us. She poured us steaming cups of tea from the samovar. When the thunder roared above us so hard it shook the windows and rattled the dishes in the cupboards, we just smiled and ate our thunder cake. And from that time on, I never feared the voice of thunder again. Here we go. And at the end, here is my grandma's thunder cake. I will see if you can see it, put it up closely. That way, if you choose to try to make it, you can. You can always come back, pause the video, and use this as your own thunder cake. So, character traits. Obviously, there were two characters in this text. And sometimes boys and girls get focused on outlying characters that really don't impact a text at all. Like sometimes they'll say, well, what about the mean-o Kit Kat? What about Nellie Petkin? Well, yes, they were characters visited on the farm, but did they really impact the text? No, not really. I mean, maybe she had a little bit of fear. Patricia had a little bit of fear getting near them because she knew that they had pecked her, or kicked her, or, given her a mean look before. But as far as this text goes, no, they really are not impactful in the text. So there are two characters. Number one is Babushka. Number two is Patricia. I'm going to focus on Babushka because I think she is truly the real main character in this text. So I'm going to show you how to make a character map, and you can do these in so many different ways. I am going to show you a way that I do it sometimes with my kids in my class. So let me try to tilt this a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and I know I'm going to focus on my my inner traits. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this so I have room to write. So the first thing I know, Patricia called her grandma, but she also went by Babushka, which is Russian for grandmother. So that's what I'm going to call her. I'm going to put here in the center, Babushka, and she is from Thunder Cake. And because it is the name of a text and I'm handwriting it, I have to underline it, okay? I don't know who decided that. I always tell my boys and girls in my class, I don't know who decided that you have to underline titles of books whenever you handwrite them. If you're typing them, you can still underline them, or you can put them in italics if you're typing it. Somebody did. So it wasn't me. And chances are it wasn't you either. It's been going on for a long, long time. So don't know who decided it, who started it, but somebody did. So we have to do it. It's a rule in our English language. So I'm underlining Thunder Cake, and I have put Babushka here in the middle. And I am now going to come up with some good descriptive words going back to that strong vocabulary that we talked about already this week. So, or maybe my days are starting to run together here in self-isolation. So in a past recent lesson, we made our flower. So let's think about some good character traits for Babushka. The first one that I think of when I am trying to describe her, I would say that she is very supportive. She is supportive to Patricia. And now, if I say she's supported, how do I support that with text evidence? Well, I can say that she reassured, Patricia all the time. I'm here, child. You're okay, child. You're going to be okay. So, Patricia was reassured by her over and over to be strong. And what's great about a character map is you can kind of make it your own on your paper. So I have supportive here. The next thing that I have, I think I'm going to put it kind of down here, is the next thing that I would say about her. So besides supportive, I would say that she is, do you think in her cookbook she really had a recipe for thunder cake? Or was it maybe just a chocolate cake recipe that she had and she quickly thought about it to get Patricia's mind off the storm coming? So I would say that she was very imaginative too. She's imaginative. She created thunder cake to get Patricia's mind off. You see that? Not quite. The storm. Okay, so there's my second one. She's supportive. She's imaginative. Do you notice that these are better descriptors than just saying she was nice, she was good? Again, those things really don't tell me anything. So if I say she's imaginative and I support it, or she's supportive and I support it, then that really tells me things about Babushka. Another one, I would say, if I'm in, is it okay that I go back and flip through the text and see if I can remember? Absolutely. It's what good readers do. So I'm going to flip from page to page. Now, she did tell her to get out from underneath that bed, right? So I don't want to say that she was demanding. She's not. I don't want to say that she was mean, but she did it in a loving way. So she was stern with Patricia. Hey, Patricia, come on. But she was loving when she did it. So I'm going to say loving over here. She stayed with Patricia the whole time. She's loving. And then I am going to try to come up with one more here. Let's see. And maybe you can come up with something on your own. Maybe you're sitting here screaming at the computer screen whenever you watch this going, what about this? What about this? Well, write it on your paper if you come up with one. We can say, So I already said the word stern. And stern, boys and girls, is a way to show that someone means business, but they may not be mean. They're still loving. I consider myself, as a teacher, I try very hard to be very stern with my class. My kids know that I mean business, but I try very hard to be fun and funny. But if I give a direction, my children know that I want them to get it done. So there is a difference between being mean and being stern. And I would say that Grandma, or Babushka, is stern with Patricia. And stern means that she is, this needs to be done, and we will get it done. So she kept saying, oh, we only have this much time. Let's go on to the next thing. We only have this much time. Now we have to move on to the next. So she was stern in, she kept them moving and working. And she probably, if I had to make a bet for Babushka, I would say she probably did that on purpose, because the more that they moved, the more that they went from place to place, the less Patricia could focus on what was coming. So it was another way that Babushka was able to get Patricia's fear channeled into something else. So I have 4 good character traits now for Babushka. And as you can see, I just kind of threw them all around, but I supported each of these with text evidence. It doesn't leave the reader going, why? And that's what I always tell sometimes. I always tell it to my boys and girls in class. If they tell me something or they write it on a paper and they don't support it, I will write in big letters, why? Question mark. Why do you feel the way that you do? You have to be able to describe it. So this easily describes Babushka. To someone that has never maybe read the book Thunder Cake before by Patricia Polacco, or has never met this character before, if you describe her in these words, somebody can go, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So that's my challenge for you today. I would love for you, and if you need to go back and re-listen to this this weekend or today or at any time, I want you to do that. And I want you to do a character map on Patricia. Now, how would you describe Patricia and why you have to support it? So if you are, let's say, kindergarten to even preschool, you can do this with mom and dad. I want you to try to maybe come up with 2 things, a way to describe her. If you are, let's say, through first grade, 2. If you're 2nd through 5th grade, let's see if you can come up with a good 4. And if you are middle school, I want you to see if you can come up with 6. So that is it for today. I will see you on Monday. Hopefully, we don't get too many storms, but if we do, thunder cake around. I'd love to see you post a picture of a thunder cake that you make at some point here in the thread. And I would also love to see the character map that you make for Patricia as your other activity. So I will see you on Monday. I already have my plans ready for next week. I'm excited again, and have a great weekend. Mwah. 2 little poodles. Goodbye. Have a great weekend.